Welcome everybody, my name is Andrew Patricio, and today I'm going to share with you some tips and advice on how to create a simple one-page marketing plan that you can use to build your business. On a daily basis, I work with small business owners just like you, and I find that some of the challenges we face is that we do not have enough structure. And this is why a one-page, simple, easy-to-follow marketing plan, I think, is really going to work. So my objective is to share with you how do you create this on your own so it keeps you on track, keeps you focused, and more importantly, helps you grow your business. So on the desktop, you'll see a little simple template that I've created. And I encourage all of you to copy it. I encourage you to copy it or even maybe create a similar version of this just for yourself. And the reason is you need some structure. So on this template, you'll see on the left-hand side, I started with my marketing objectives. And I'm going to explain every single one of these in detail so you understand. But the first one is your marketing objectives. Let's say you're thinking about growing your business, or you're thinking about creating a plan for the next 90 days on how to grow your business. You start off with very, very clearly what are your goals, what are your objectives, what do you want to achieve. And that's a really good starting point. Because to measure the effectiveness of any marketing plan, to measure the effectiveness of anything you do in your business, you've got to understand that it's important that you list very, very clearly what your marketing objectives are. The second thing is you need to be clear on who your customers are. And this is a really interesting and sometimes a challenging section for small business owners, because often we start out selling to whoever will buy our stuff. That's where we start. We start by selling to whoever will buy it. But really, if you want to scale, if you want to grow your business, I believe that you eventually need to get to a stage that you need to decide which are our favorite customers, which customers would we like to pursue. And once you can identify these, you can then create a marketing plan to focus specifically on those people. So we sell to anybody. We just don't market to anybody. We've got to be very, very clear on who our target or ideal customer is. We're going to discuss that in more detail. The third one is you need to do research on your competitors. And I want you to understand the importance of this. Is on a regular basis, you need to get out there and do research on your competitors. Really understand what they're doing right, what they're not doing so well, and most importantly, what can you duplicate, what can you replicate that they are doing, or what can you improve on their weaknesses. And it's really key that on a regular basis, we get out there and we do a competitive analysis. I'm going to speak a little bit more about that. The fourth one is your value proposition. And for a lot of us, this is quite challenging, because often we're selling products and services very, very similar to our competitors. But you've got to try and identify what is that thing that you do that is unique, different, and special. We're going to discuss that in more detail. But it's really key that you understand what do you give customers that is unique. How does your product or your service help them? These are the type of things we need to understand. Your marketing tools. What marketing tools are you going to use to grow your business? And again, you've got to be very, very clear on this. And again, the more organized you are, the better it is for you. You need to become organized. You need to make sure that things are working. Things are working, things that you are doing are being effective, and you need to identify those marketing tools that work for you. The sixth and one of the most important things we have as small business owners is our customer service. We've got to make sure that we're very, very clear on what we're doing to keep customers coming back. What is that thing that we're doing that is keeping our customers coming back? And the seventh thing is our lead nurturing strategy. So you'll see on this little template, it's a really simple document that you can use. And I encourage you to use something like this or exactly this template. The last two sections on the bottom right-hand side are the budget and metrics. So you would create this into a Word document or onto a piece of paper and write these things down as you think about them. And the other thing I recommend you do is you do this every 90 days, because what happens sometimes is our marketing objectives change. Other times our target customers change. Our competitors change. Our value proposition, we may need to refine it, and we need to change the marketing tools we do. So it's really key that not only do you create a one-page marketing plan, but that you keep this one-page marketing plan updated regularly. So every 90 days, you make sure that you go back and you update your one-page marketing plan. And this is the nice thing about this, is you can keep it on your desk. You can keep it on your desk, you can put on your whiteboard, you can keep it where you need to look at it. And I think that is the key when it comes to planning. So let's start off at the beginning. And I think the beginning is listing clearly what your marketing objectives are. And the first one may be absolutely obvious, is that marketing is about increasing sales. And I agree with that. Any marketing that we do, that is the objective. And you've got to understand this. You've got to link your marketing to your sales. Because if you're spending a lot of time marketing, or you're spending a lot of money marketing, and you're not getting the results, you're doing something wrong. And this is something we've got to really be aware of. Because I've seen this happening many times, is that business owners spend money on marketing, but they're really not sure if that money that they've spent has generated any revenue. And then I'm thinking, what's the point? Why would we be spending money on marketing if it's not increasing our sales? You know, it's big companies that spend money on marketing to improve brand. Small businesses, not really our thing. So increase your sales. The other one is to diversify your lead source. And this is really, really key. Let's say, for example, that the majority of your leads currently are coming from cold calling, or the majority of your leads are coming from telephone calls. You want to maybe diversify, maybe get a few leads from your website, maybe get some leads from your Facebook advertising, maybe from your email campaigns. So really you want to diversify the source of your leads, because what you don't want to happen is your leads dry up. So diversifying that could be one of your strategies. The third one could be to increase your email database. And I want you to understand the importance of this. You know, I really like email marketing, and there's a couple of reasons, but one of them is because it's measurable. But the key thing, this should be part of your strategy, because the one thing I've realized as a business owner, when your database is big enough, you don't need to go looking for customers, because you've got enough people in your database, and if you just follow up with those people, that'll be enough business for you. And I think this is the key thing. We need to keep growing our database. So that may be one of my marketing objectives, to grow my database from 5,000 people to 6,000 people, or grow my database from 1,000 people to 1,200 people, or grow my database from 40 people to 50 people. The key here is to set yourself benchmarks, to set yourself numbers that you can attain. So increase your email database could be one of your goals. The other one could be to increase your social media community. And I go through different stages as a business owner. Is that sometimes I really like social media, and other times I don't like social media. But I think I'm going through a phase now, an interesting phase, where I'm warming to social media again. And the reason is I've seen a lot of small business owners getting some great results from their online communities. And this opens up an opportunity. So maybe that's one of your goals. One of your goals or one of your objectives is to increase your likes on Facebook from 1,000 to 1,500, or on Instagram from 2,000 to 2,500, whatever it is. And then finally, improve your brand identity. And earlier on, I spoke about not spending money on branding, but the one thing you've got to be very, very careful of as a small business owner is that when we start our businesses, we're often doing things, going out of our way for our customers. We're doing these unbelievable things. As our businesses get established, some of us get lazy. And this is why we've got to be very, very careful. So maybe that would be one of your marketing objectives, to just really improve the image of your brand in your customer's name, in your customer's mind. So these are some of the things that you want to do. So this is the starting point. Get out a pen and paper and write down exactly what your marketing objectives are for the next 90 days. Be very, very clear on what you want to achieve. So that's a starting point. We want to grow this, we want to increase that, whatever it is. And write these things down, be very, very clear. I believe we've got to get into a habit of writing things down on a regular basis. It gives us focus and it gives us direction. The second thing is your target customers. We've got to be very, very clear who our customer is. Just think of any marketing or advertising we do. Let's say, for example, we're going to promote our business on Facebook or on Twitter, or we're going to send out flyers, or we're going to do telephone calls or any direct marketing, any of those type of things. The first thing is we've got to understand who our customer is. And this is really, really key, is that when we clear who our customer is, when we can then create marketing material specifically for them. So there are things we need to think about. Maybe demographic is important. You've realized that the majority of your customers are female, over the age of 55, that have 2 grandchildren, whatever it is. But the more detail you have about your customer, the better it is for you. And for some of us, demographic is the thing that we notice. But for other people, it's your psychographic. I find that in the case of BizLaunch, our customer is really not age-related. You know, it's really interesting. We go across the board from about 25 to 65 that, you know, across the board we can see quite a range of different ages. Really, the more important criteria for us are things like people in the startup or the growing phase of their business, people that want to learn more, you know, so the psychographic for us is more important than the demographic. So really understanding who our customer is and what influences her purchasing decision is more important to us. Or the third one is a word that I came up with myself because I thought, you know what, when you create words for yourself, people think you're clever, and that's business graphic. So when it comes to selling to business, you know, who's your ideal customer? Is it the amount of employees they have? Is it the fact that they are a Fortune 500 company? Is it the amount, what's the criteria that you use to decide, should we sell to this customer or not, or should we market to these customers or not? So the more clarity you have, the better it is for you. So think about this. Is there a way for you to create, a template, a guideline of who your customer is? Because then you can go to your marketing or advertising people. You can say to them, these are the people we think are our ideal customers. Let's market to those people. And that's really what you want to be thinking about. So think about your customer. What are their needs? What influences their purchasing decisions? Those are the type of things that are really, really key. And you will notice as a consumer that nowadays, convenience is probably one of the most important things. People do not have enough time. Because people do not have enough time, if you come up with a product or service that saves them time, this could be your winner. And again, you've got to think about your customer. You really got to think about your customer. So when it comes to time, really the demographic's not that important. It's really more about psychographic. It might be working moms, it might be whatever it is that you can think of that comes up with who your customer is, your ideal customer. And we need to think about this. So what influences their purchasing decisions? Where do customers go to seek information about your business? So when they're looking to buy your product or service, where are they going? Are they reading blogs? Are they going onto websites? Are they Googling? Are they finding out on Facebook? Is it on Instagram? These are the type of things you want to be thinking about. You know, do they go to seminars? Do they go to talks? Do they watch videos? All of these things will influence your marketing. And I want you to think about this. I really want you to understand your customer. And one of the easiest ways to really understand your customer is maybe interview them one-on-one, or bring them to a venue around a boardroom table and ask them questions. You know, what influences your buying decision, all these type of things. You know, I was looking at a very interesting example early on where somebody was trying to buy something online. And I was just watching them, and I realized that some of these websites actually assume that you're tech savvy. And you're going to be very, very careful. Because if your customer is not tech savvy, make sure that your website is easy, very, very easy to use. And some of my favorite examples, I don't know if anybody's ever used anything like Airbnb, but they are so easy to use because they've realized that, you know what, the easier you make it for customers to buy your stuff, the more successful you're going to be. And really, that's the key thing, is understand your customer, understand how she buys, understand how computer literate they are, understand what influences their decisions, and you're going to become a better marketer. So the more you know about your customers, the better. And I encourage you to talk to them. Talk to them on a regular basis. Sit down with them and understand what their needs are. And then you can come up with something like this. This is a really interesting template that shows you your ideal customer. You know, his name, how old he is, how long he's been working, what motivates him, all those type of things. The more you understand about this, the better it is for you. And I want you to think about this. Often when I run marketing classes, I say to business owners, I want you to think like a marketer. Every single time you buy something, every single time you see an ad on TV, every single time you see marketing materials, advertising materials, is look at this and think, who are they going after? Why did they use this language? All those type of things, because that's going to make you a better marketer. When you understand your customer, when you're very, very clear about who your customer is, your marketing becomes more effective because you understand how her brain works. You understand what influences his decisions. You understand where he works. You understand where he hangs out online. And the more information you have, the better it is going to be for you. The next section is understanding your competitors. And this is really, really key. Because I find that business nowadays is very, very dynamic. It really is. There are so many changes taking place. There are so many new competitors coming onto the market that if you don't know who they are, they could take your business away from you very, very quickly. And this is what we got to be very, very careful of, is we got to be very, very clear. Even when your customers speak about your competitors, and they'll sometimes do this. They'll say, you know what, we buy from so-and-so because of this, that, and that. You've really got to understand, is that true? Because they're very, very clever purchasing tactic. You know, when somebody offers you something for $1,000, you'll say to them, you know what, I can get it from Joe down the road for $800. But as a business owner, if you haven't done your research, you don't know this. So I think it's really key that we understand who our competitors are. So who are they? What are their strengths and their weaknesses? What do they do really well, and what don't they do really well? What do their customers say about them? So when you go out there into the field and you meet some of your competitors' customers, what do they say about them? What are the good things they say about them? What are the bad things they say about them? And we got to be very, very clear on this. The more we understand about our competitors, the better it is. How do they market their stuff? So your competitors, how do they market their products and services? How much do they charge? And who are their target customers? Now, you've got to understand, and I really understand this, that it's not easy to find out exactly what your competitors are doing. But that's not an excuse. I still want you to go out and do your research. I still want you to shop your competitors and have an understanding of what they're doing. So let's not make excuses. Let's get out there and really understand. Let's visit their websites. Let's collect their marketing materials. Let's get friends to get quotes from them. All these type of things we need to be doing on a regular basis so we really understand. This is a really, really interesting podcast that I encourage you all to check out. Actually, this guy, I think he's a brilliant marketer. And some of you may be subscribed to his blog. I have never met this guy. I don't know who he is. I just know he's doing a brilliant job online. And I encourage you, because yesterday I was sitting in my office working on really interesting stuff. I had a very, very productive day. And while I was sitting here, I was listening to this Marketing School podcast. And I learned so many things in a very, very short period of time. So I encourage you to do this. After this webinar, type in Neil Patel and just subscribe to his newsletters. Subscribe to his blog. He shares brilliant information that is really, really useful. I just like the guy. I don't even know him. I like the guy just because of some of the brilliant content he shares. And you're going to learn a ton of stuff. Really, you're going to learn a ton of stuff from this guy. And this is what I encourage you to do, because I think marketing is quite complicated. You know, especially those of us that are, I don't want to call us part-time marketers, but we've got a business to run. We do not have time to focus on all of these things, but we need to have a good understanding of marketing, because marketing brings us leads. Marketing brings us customers. Marketing helps us grow our business. So we've got to learn from other people. So webinars are great, podcasts are great, books are great. We've got to keep learning. I think it's very, very important. The next thing you've got to think about, and this I think is quite challenging for all of us, is what is our value proposition? When your competitor is faced with that, when your customer is faced with who they should buy from, why should they buy from you? And this is sometimes very, very challenging, because for some of us, we're very, very similar to our competitors. That's the reality. For some of us, we're very, very similar to our competitors. So we don't really have a competitive advantage. But we've got to find something that is unique. We've got to find something that is different. And if we can find something that is unique and different, it's going to make us more successful. So think about this. Why should people buy from you? How does your product or how does your service solve their problems? When customers buy your product or service, what is the benefit? What benefits does buying your product or service give me? Does it save me time? Does it save me money? What is it that it does? And why should I choose you rather than anybody else? And these are the things that should obsess us as business owners. Really, it should obsess us. Because we got to be very, very clear on that thing that we do, or those things that we do that make us unique, different, and special. And it's really hard. I know, for example, we run webinars for a bunch of different companies. And one of the things that I realize is differentiating ourselves is hard. The one thing we try and do is make it easy, very, very easy for them to do business with us. And we realize when we are working with large organizations, the less work we give them, the less they have to do, the more we do, the better it is. And I want you to understand the importance of this. It's really, really key that you as a business owner try and think about this. Really take this into consideration. What is it that you do that is unique? What is it that you do that is special? And how does your customer find out about this? What do you say to them? What benefits do you focus on? So here's a couple of examples. On the top left-hand side here, some of you might know the company, MailChimp. They email software that a lot of small business owners use, especially the hipster ones online that they use. And this is their thing. Sell better, send better emails, sell more stuff. That is their thing. And they're very, very clear that that's the one thing they focus on. So if you want to send simple, effective emails, they want you to think about MailChimp. And you've got to understand the importance of this is they make it easy for people to do. And that is exactly what you want to be doing. Or if any of you remember the Dollar Shave Club on the left-hand side here, another great example of a business that basically reinvented the industry. They really changed the industry. And the way they did that is they gave you a great shave for a few dollars a month. A really, really simple value proposition. Or this one at the bottom here, another great product that small business owners use that works very, very effectively, Unbounce. You know, build landing pages fast and get more conversions. Because really, at the end of the day, that is what we want. We want to build landing pages for our website, if that's the case, that gets us the customers. And you've got to think about this. You've got to think about this. The most successful companies that you and I buy from, the products that we use, the services that we use, that we love, that we tell other people about, it's usually because it solves a problem. That's exactly what it does. It solves a problem for us. Because it solves a problem for us, we use it. And because it solves a problem for us, we use it and we rave about it to other people. And that is exactly what you and I want to do. We want to come up with a value proposition. We want people to go around speaking about it, saying, you know what, the service they offer is absolutely brilliant. You just do this, that, and it solves this issue. So the more clarity you have, the more clear you are on what your competitive advantage is, the better it is for you. So understand the importance of this. Be very, very clear on exactly what your competitive advantage is. All right, so we've gone through our marketing objectives. We've gone through our target market. We've gone through doing research on our competitors. We've gone through the basics of good marketing. Now we've got to focus on the specifics. What tools are we going to use to get customers? And I want you to understand, it doesn't matter that we've got so many new ways of marketing. We've got social media, we've got email marketing, we've got websites, we've got all these online tools. I still believe that traditional marketing tools work really, really well. Things like the telephone, things like networking, those things still work really, really well. So as a business owner, we need to identify these things. You know, are we using the telephone enough? And I believe in my business, I don't use it enough. I really don't. I use email, I use all these other tools, but the telephone is a great way to communicate with people. So I want you to think about this. Is there a way that you can use the traditional methods again? You bring in somebody that is brilliant on the telephone, they can phone up potential customers and set up meetings. I know business owners that have done this and get too many meetings because they're very, very targeted and people are not used to getting phone calls. But if it's well done, if it's well prepared, if the right questions are, this could be the solution. So maybe this is a solution for you. Find a part-timer, somebody that's a virtual assistant that can set up meetings for you. You go and sit in front of the client and you close the deal. Another one is email marketing. I love email marketing. I'm going to speak a little bit more about it later on, but I really love email marketing. And there are a couple of reasons. First of all, it's affordable, and secondly, it's measurable. So I encourage you to not give up on email marketing. You know, people are using it very, very well. I mean, even us at BizLaunch, we send out emails regularly, and that's how we've grown our business. So I encourage you to use these tools very effectively and make sure that it's done properly. That is the key thing, that your emails are done properly, they look beautiful, and they contain useful content for your clients. The third one is networking. I've often said to small business owners that the majority of our good customers we've met at networking events, the majority of our good customers. But that's got to be something we've got to focus on as business owners. We can't neglect networking. I find that often in the startup stages, we spend a lot of time networking, and then later on we get a bit lazy. So maybe this is your time to go back to networking, to really re-look at this and say, you know what, maybe connecting with people one-on-one. I actually think, I really believe this, that live in-person business meetings are going to become very popular again. Not that they've gone out of fashion, but I think what's happened is we've been focusing too much on the online stuff and not enough on the offline stuff. And this is something key. You've got to make sure that you're doing the offline marketing too. The other one is use free tools. You know, things like online directories, things like free places to advertise online. You know, use those things, especially when you've got a bit of time. There are so many opportunities nowadays to be able to put stuff online for free and draw customers to your business. You know, things like, you know, Facebook Marketplace, you know, where you can sell stuff. You know, there's just so many of those nowadays. There's Upwork, there's Fiverr, there's all these type of places that you can use that can generate leads for your business. Again, you've got to make a decision. Obviously, they're not suitable for all of us, but as business owners, we've got to make a decision, should we be using these free tools more often? Another one is social media. I like social media. I don't want to say I love social media because that would be exaggerating, but I think social media can be very effective to connect with customers, to build relationships with customers, to build an online community, to find out about who your customer is, what they want, and all those things. I think these are an opportunity. But again, we got to be strategic. And finally, our websites. We got to be really strategic. When we create these things, we've got to do it properly. So whatever tools you're going to use, and it doesn't matter, you can use 1, you can use 2, you can use 5, but you've got to do them properly, and that is the key. If you do it properly, it's effective. If you do not do it properly, you're going to waste your time. So just be very, very careful of this. The other thing I encourage you to do, and this is really an important thing when it comes to social media, is be very, very specific about what your plans are. So maybe, for example, you come up with a little plan. On a daily basis, I'm going to Facebook 3 times a day. I'm going to Twitter 4 times a day. I'm going to create a YouTube video once a week. I'm going to post on Pinterest once a week or twice a week. I'm going to post on Instagram every day, whatever it is. I'm going to post on LinkedIn. But the most important thing is that we have a plan. The most important thing is that we have a plan, because otherwise it doesn't work, or it doesn't work as effectively. And we've got to understand the importance of this, of being very, very clear of when we need to be doing these things. Because if we don't have a plan, we're going to do it when we have time. And I really don't like that statement of when we have time, because we're busy. We've got lots going on. We do not have time. So make sure you allocate specific slots of time when you're going to be doing something. And the more clarity you have, the better it is for you. So I found you a nice little social media template that you can use. Just go into Hootsuite. I'll send you these slides afterwards if you email me. And there, it'll give you a free template that you can use to plan your social media. It asks you what your objectives are. Then it goes through the different tools you're going to use, and it's really simple and very effective. And a lot of us already use Hootsuite to post our information online, and I encourage you to find a tool like this that works for you. But again, the simplicity of it is the most important. So let's discuss a little bit about email. I really love email, and I encourage you to find an app. You know, use MailChimp or use Constant Contact, or use, I don't know, there's so many, SendGrid, email, there's so many out there that you can use. But the most important thing is you want to grow your email list. You've got to understand the importance of this. And once you've got a big enough database, you don't need more customers. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to make sure we decide on the platform we're going to use. So am I going to use MailChimp? Am I going to use Constant Contact? Whatever it is. That's the first thing. The second thing is make sure you put a sign-up form on your website so that people can subscribe to your database. Make it very, very easy for people to subscribe to your database. But you've got to understand you've got to give people a reason. So people want things like guides. People want things like interviews. People want things like videos. People want things like infographics. People want things like curated content. These are the type of things that are going to encourage me to subscribe to your newsletter, to subscribe to your email database. And you've got to understand the importance of this, is that your email list is a brilliant marketing tool. It's a great tool because you can communicate with your customers, and it's a great tool because you can get referrals from these people. Create a Facebook tab on your Facebook page so that people can sign up for newsletter. Share a link to sign up from your social media on your social media. But these are some of the type of things we need to be doing. It's very, very important that you do these things, because often we come to seminars, we come to webinars, and we read about these things and we listen to these things we think really, really interesting, and we don't do anything about it. I want you to do something about it. So maybe that's one of your things you're going to focus on now, is to create an email list. Here's a great example of some content that you can find, 18 great email subject line examples to inspire you. You've got to understand this information is online. It's available to you. Just go to Google, type in brilliant email subject lines, and somebody's created a list for you. And these are the type of things we need to be looking for, is simple solutions to make our life easier. So let's speak about our website and our online marketing strategy. If we want our marketing to be more effective, if we want more traffic to our website, if we want better traffic to our website, we need to identify what keywords we need to use to optimize our website. Those are the things you need to find, those keywords. Make sure that you regularly update your website. On a regular basis, your website needs to be updated, because every single time you update your website with content, Google reindexes it. So it's very, very important that you create a website that is updatable. I don't even know if that's a word, but you've got to create a website that you can update on a regular basis. List online advertising programs you will use to reach your customers. So let's use an example. I'm going to use Facebook advertising. This is how much I'm going to spend every month. These are the people I'm going to target. I'm going to use Google advertising. This is how I'm going to do it. The more clarity you have, the better it is. And you've got to understand this. The more clarity you have, the better it is for you. So here's a great example of a tool you can use called SEMrush. So what I did before I started this webinar, I went in, I typed in our business name, and it gives you a good analysis of your website, keywords, your main competitors, all those type of things. But this is a software that that they charge you for. But if you go in there once a day and you put in your website name, it'll tell you. You can put in your competitors' websites and it'll tell you. So you don't have to pay for it. Just don't go too often. If you go in too often, it's going to want to charge you. But if you do, say, go and check out one of your competitors on a daily basis, you can check what keywords they rank for. You can check where their traffic comes from. You can check all those things, how many backlinks they have. It's absolutely brilliant. So use this tool. Remember what I said. You can pay for it or you can use it free. If you just use it like I used it, where I put my website in, it's free. If you want to do it, use it on a regular basis, then you're going to pay for it. But for small business, I think this is fine. Just go in, type in your website, type in your competitor's website, and you can see what words they rank for, which is really, really useful. So the next one is your customer service. We're nearly done. Next one is your customer service. I believe that we've got to become fanatical about providing excellent customer service. We've got to spend as much time as possible with our customers and provide unique, better service. And I believe this is so, so important, because if we do these things, our customers are going to refer us. Our customers are going to give us testimonials, and people trust testimonials. So you've got to understand the power of this. It's very, very important. The other thing we need to work on is our lead nurturing strategy. We've got to capture leads, we've got to nurture leads, and we've got to generate sales out of them. So you've got to make sure that you work on this. What are you going to do? Create landing pages, ask the right questions, create scripts. When people call you, what you're going to say to them. When you call people, what you're going to say to them. These are the type of things we should be working on. We should be spending our time working on stuff like this. Why? This is what generates revenue for us. I believe that if every single one of us followed these slides to the T, we'd become much better marketers. If we become much better marketers, we're going to generate more leads. If we generate more leads, we're going to close more sales. It's really not that complicated. But often, the part of the equation we miss out is our marketing. We do not do this stuff properly. The other thing we need to work on is how much money and time are we going to spend on this? And this is really key. When it comes to marketing, we've got to allocate time every week. Events we're going to go to, time we're going to spend on social media, time we're going to spend sending out email marketing. You've got to allocate time. And ideally, if you've got money, you've got to allocate money. And this is really key because we've got to never stop marketing. So one of the things I said early on is that we've got to be measuring our marketing. How will we measure the effectiveness of our marketing? You can't be spending time marketing. You can't be spending time, money on marketing and not getting results. So it's really important is what are your KPIs going to be? What are your key performance indicators? How are you going to measure success? What are your targets? These are the type of things we need to focus on. And the more clear that we are, the better it is. So let me just summarize quickly. I've created this plan because it's simple. And I encourage you to either create one of your own or just copy this one. Start off on a regular basis, every 90 days. What are my marketing objectives? First. Secondly, which customers am I going to market to? Thirdly, what are my competitors doing? How much are they charging? How are they marketing? All those type of things. Fourth, what is my value proposition? Just in case we need to refine this, just in case we need to upgrade this. What marketing tools are we going to use? Number 6, what customer service are we going to offer that is going to differentiate us from any of our competitors? 7, what is our lead nurturing strategy? I believe that if you and I focus on these 7 things, every 90 days, we're going to build a better business. But you've got to understand the importance of marketing. It is really, really key that if you get your marketing right, it makes running a business so much easier. I really believe this. I really, really believe this, that a lot of us could become far more successful if we just got our marketing right. We got to just tweak things. We got to do what's got to be done. We can't do it when we have time. We've got to do it regularly, we've got to do it consistently, and we've got to do it properly. Or we've got to bring in somebody to do it for us. And this is the key. Go out there, use this template, focus on your marketing, and build a successful business. That is what I wish for every single one of you online.